This is the episode 7 of my series Countdown Till Christmas with Mind and Muse Crafts. Welcome back if you've seen any of my other videos, and if you haven't seen them, well, welcome, and you are invited to see them whenever you want, in whatever order you want also. This series has just been me chatting to you about what I'm doing around the house during my Christmas vacation, about what crafts I am working at, mostly what kitchen crafts I've been working at, and I promise you that today's vlog is not going to be any different. I did want to start out by chatting just a little bit before we go to the other pre-recorded events about things that have been happening around here over the past couple of days. I had a visit from my son. I have to say that my son decided to plan a trip to Puerto Rico. He did not tell me about it, so I wasn't aware. And he did show up at my house one afternoon, as he usually does, without mentioning a word, and just my husband called me outside. I was vlogging, and my husband calls me outside to see something, as he normally does. And so there was my son and his wife. We have been social distancing because he's flew in from New Hampshire, and though they had been tested, well, or maybe just over a week before their trip. Well, in a week a lot can happen. So we have been social distancing, we have been using our masks, and I was not able to give him a proper motherly salute or anything like that, and it was very heartbreaking, but we both know that it is for the best because, well, you never know about these things, and nobody wants to have it on their conscience and have to live with the thought that because of them, their loved ones have become ill. At least not purposely. I mean, it can happen without us actually planning it to happen, of course. And it might not happen on purpose, but nobody purposely, I think, wants that kind of thing to happen. So he's been here, and the times that he has stopped by, I've actually been vlogging. So I've had to cut my vlogging short or change the plan of what I was going to present that day, just so that I could keep up, because I didn't want to break. It was easy to say, oh, I won't have a vlog today because I didn't have time, but I didn't want to do that. So I just tried to keep up with it, and as best I could, filling in the gaps with things that I had pre-recorded and doing a lot of voiceovers and narration. So that's the reason why I haven't had my face on camera physically for a couple of days. But yes, he's still around here, but he has other family members to visit, and so although he's doing it from a distance, he does want people to at least see his face, and he wants to be able to see that everybody's okay before he leaves. So he hasn't been over all the time, but just over a couple of times, and he's been over here for about 3 or 4 days. I think it's about 4 or 5 days by now. And so he stopped by maybe twice. But anyway, that is one of the things. It's always good to see your children. We haven't seen each other for a year and 2 months, about 14 months, because the last time I saw him, no, that's not true. Well, he hadn't come to the island in 14 months, because the last time he came was for when he married, which was in October of 2019. And but I did see him in February when I made a trip to Maryland to visit my daughter, and he went down, and we met up. But it's been since then. A lot of things have been happening. It's been scary for everybody. And so, it was nice to see each other and to physically confirm that everything is okay. In addition to that, U.S. Postal Service tried to make up for the package that I lost, in the sense that my older daughter sent 2 packages full of Christmas gifts for us, and they had no notification of what was happening to them in 2 weeks, but yesterday they were delivered to my home. So kind of making it up, USPS there for because it was good to receive those 2 packages, and I was very happy that they hadn't gotten lost, because my daughter was very upset about the idea of them not reaching their destination. But they were here, and I'll show you 2 things that my daughter gifted me in the package and that I opened because I knew they were coming, so I took them out of their package. This is one. I'm a big fan. If you remember the countdown, the 12 Days of Christmas that I did with Elizabeth, I gifted her some of these. I think that was probably the first time that I had actually tasted them, and I fell in love. But they're not easy to find here. And so my daughter found some of them for me, and that's what they look like, little gifts in a package, right? So I'm going to eat one here on camera for you because these are peppermint bark candies, if you couldn't see the label. And Dove usually comes with a message inside. And this one says, find holiday magic in all things. So here's holiday magic, peppermint on the front and dark chocolate on the back. My favorite. Now I won't be able to talk for a while. Too much water in my mouth. Since my daughter has to do things big or not do them, I know there's more than one package of this in the bag. Hopefully in your area they're not so difficult to find, but here it's very hard to find them. So that was one. White chocolate with real pieces of peppermint. The best. The best. So, if you haven't tried it, that might be something you want to look out for. Second thing she sent me was also a homemade fruit cake. She made me gluten-free fruit cake. She made it maybe at the end of October, the beginning of November. Could that be it? I think it was October. Because you know that those things that you pour liquor over them. Well, you don't actually pour the liquor over them. I have done that though. I have been known to do that. But you take a brush and you brush liquor over them. And that you do that every so often so that it can last a long time. Well, you know, that's the typical, traditional Christmas cake that they call it. And so I love fruitcake. One of the few people in the world who you will hear say this, because I've heard a lot more people say that they hate it. But I like fruitcake. But I like homemade fruitcake. And since I'm gluten-free, I asked her to please make it gluten-free. And she did. Yesterday evening, my son came by and he bought dinner. So we were outside on the balcony, on our balcony, on different sides of the balcony, my husband and myself and him and his wife, and we shared a pizza and some garlic rolls and some, what they call here a sampler, because it's got like pieces of chicken and it's got corn sticks and, well, different things. So they had this big sampler, and while they were eating, the package came, so I opened it. And right then and there I opened it, and I said, I need to taste this because I've been waiting so long for it. So that's what I did. I unwrapped it, I opened it, and since I'm a fan, I like fruitcake, so I'm figuring that I will have a piece of it every day until Christmas, while it lasts. So that was exciting to receive that homemade fruitcake. My daughter sent all the way from Maryland. And those are the type of things that travel well because they're supposed to be eaten after they're cured or something like that. But the aged they're better if aged is the thing. So very happy to have that. And of course there were some other things, but those gone under the tree. I wasn't going to open that. But yes, so that made me very happy to receive that gift from my daughter, to know that she hadn't wasted her money. Everything that she sent was there and intact. Also on my agenda for today was to chat with you about another plant that was outside that you saw um, when I was picking my green pigeon peas, which is the passion fruit vine. And so I wanted to take you on a tour of my two passion fruit vines, and I wanted to show you a recipe that I make with that passion fruit, and specifically I wanted it to be something festive. So I chose the passion fruit mojito, or mojito de parcha, as we say over here in Puerto Rico. So I'm going to share that with you, and hopefully you'll have all the ingredients and some of you will be able to try it, because it is one of my favorite festive drinks. Aside from the wine. Wine is just for Fridays, but on special occasions, I like to have a mojito. I'll leave you with past me, who is going to show you around the vines for the passion fruit in case you've never seen what they look like. And I'm also going to show you how to open the fruits, make juice from the fruit, and also finally, and last but not least, how to make a good parcha mojito, or mojito de parcha, or passion fruit mojito, however you want to call it. So, bye for now. Enjoy. Today I wanted to talk to you about this plant that is around here. It's a vine. And it is a fruit called passion fruit that you are probably familiar with. This is not the only place in the world where we can find it. And it's just taken over because that's what vines do. We've taken many of the passion fruits already. And I actually think that both the green pigeon pea trees and the passion fruit plant are both dying right now because I don't think it can get enough food source from these skinny trees. I'm back in the kitchen. I wanted to bring you here to show you two recipes that I make with the passion fruit. Obviously one is simply juice. So every one of these is a passion fruit. And they do have a very thick core. You don't need a lot of force to cut through these. And depending on the species, some of these are less orange than others. There are some that are a bit more orange than this, but this is a typical color. So what happens now is that I empty these, and it takes about seven passion fruits about this size, probably about 1 liter of water, and maybe between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of sugar, depending how sweet you like your juice, and I will make juice out of these. So 7 of these, 1 liter of water, between 1/4 and 1/2 cup. Make sure your water initially is room temperature. Well, that will help melt down the sugar. If it's cold, then your sugar, and it's never good to do a sugar taste when you're water is cold, because you're not really getting the full strength of the sugar. So I cut about 7 of those, and with that I can make a juice. I can also freeze these because I don't want them to go to waste. They can be frozen, and I can use them to make a juice later on. So I usually freeze them in sections, like in portions of 7 medium-sized passion fruits at a time, so that I can just unfreeze it and defrost it or whatever, and just make my juice without having to defrost more than I need. Okay? So there you go. That is the result of all of the passion fruits that I had there, that I would say are about maybe over 20. That's the cup I was removed, and to this cup I would beat it in the blender with sugar and water and strain it until I get a liter of juice. So that's number 1. Number 2, let's talk a little bit about what can I do with this passion fruit concentrate. So I'm all set up to bring to you a recipe of mojito de balcha, passion fruit mojito. So we've got all of our ingredients here prepared. We've got a half of a lemon. Well, we've got more than a half, but we only need a half. We have got 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, a little bit over 10 mint leaves because they were kind of small, so I kind of bought more than 10. And then we've got 1/4 cup of rum. It should be white rum, but I didn't have any white rum. I only had this rum, so that's what I went with. It is passion fruit flavored, so I stuck with that. 1/4 cup of that. 1/3 cups of sparkling water with a lemon flavor, and 3 tablespoons of passion fruit concentrate. And so we begin. So we're going to start by crushing the sugar with the half of the lemon. So we'll just squeeze it here. And very gently we will, well, not necessarily gently, but you just don't want the lemon juice flying all over the place. So this is just to get the sugar to melt, so that you don't have, so that all of your drink has the same flavor. I'm going to put in there the mint leaves. And I'm also going to crush them into the sugar. It's just to have a soft drink. We don't have any sugar, or one side is sweeter than the other, and the leaves, since they're not going to be steeped or anything, well, you do want them to kind of, you can get the smell. I wish you could smell this right now. Okay, so there we go. It's a matter of just putting everything else. I will put in the 3 tablespoons of matcha concentrate, the 1/4 cup of the rum, the 1/3 cup of the sparkling water, and then we'll simply give that a stir. And we'll come back over here, and I've chosen here a cup, kind of a special cup to me because it was a set of cups that belonged to my mother. They were a gift for her 25th anniversary from my sister. She had saved them away until a couple of years back. My sister and my brother were cleaning out a cupboard that had been attacked by termites and rats, and so they were trying to put that in order, and they decided that they were going to throw away all of her glassware, and so they just threw everything away. When I got home to visit her that day, they were in the process of removing what they considered to be garbage from the house, and I couldn't believe it. I did everything in my power to open up the bags carefully and see if I could save, although as I took the bags I could hear the crushed glass. I was able to save maybe 2 or 3 of these big ones, and there were like 4 different sizes, about 4 cups each, so there were tons of glassware, and these are silver plated. And I am telling you that this glassware has got to be, well, if I can remember it, and they were gifted by my elder sister, but more than 40 years old. That's where I'm going to mix my drink for you. I'm going to start by adding the ice. There was supposed to be 3/4 cup of ice. So I won't add it all. I'm going to add my matcha mixture just about right. And there it is. And there it is. Our mojito de pancha. And with that, I am going to wrap up today's episode, and hoping that you will join me tomorrow for another episode of Countdown Till Christmas. And we're getting closer. We're getting so much closer. So there are not many of these left.